Anyway, so you were saying with the team names though.
No, I
Or
was just
the
going to
player
list them
names,
out.
even.
Australian Whirlpool and Strong Troll Mac. I actually recognize the name D-Day as an Australian player. I don't know too much about them. I'm not going to lie, I don't. But I think that I've seen him around. I've seen his name around in the Aussie scene. I used to play quite a bit with the Fray guys back in the day.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Obviously, so I had a little bit of exposure to the scene, to different in-houses, and I know I've seen him around. Besides that, I can't really tell you much about him.
Right on, right on. So we'll see what he brings to the table as well as the rest of the team. So again, I don't really know what happened in that game. I was trying to check to see if it showed up. I know with the Hunter lobby, I mean sometimes there are issues with actually getting the correct match ID to show up. It looks like I can't really get a hold of it. So it's just gonna have to be a mystery. Apparently, can't actually get exactly how the game one was played, but it was a victory for Australian Whirlpool. That's the one certain that we do have. But again, especially just like the previous series, I mean, it's a case of we're just gonna have fun with it, see what kind of picks we have, not really look too much into it because these are lesser experienced teams for the most part. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And once again, hopefully you're enjoying our content in between games and whatnot. More Smigers Digest coming out there. some trippy stuff, but definitely some fun stuff.
Really quick, I seen him make a public announcement. I mentioned the Dampier stuff, maybe him getting hidden buffs before.
Okay.
Turns out my super reliable source was not so reliable. I guess the tooltip is in the game that's the case, but it actually is an application. Maybe it was something that was being tried out in the past and it just got left in there. But
Okay.
yeah, Dampier is still exactly the same in any way other than what's been officially listed.
Gotcha. Okay, so to clarify that.
Yep.
What the deal was. All right, so this game here, we got the blind panning stage nymph for a fade coming out here from Australian Whirlpool. And then we got Jeremiah Parasite from Stronk, as we're labeling them. That is a pretty easy way to list them. So Stronk over here on the Hellborn side. Predator, the first lock. Again, a lot of talk about Predator with this new patch. And then Tempest, Keeper of the Forest to follow. So fun start already. To clarify as well, the Australian Whirlpool team, they are from Australia. Go figure. No. So just to make that clear. I'm not sure Stronk is from Europe, though. I think they might be. It looks like they are, yeah, with the latency especially. It looks like
it is pretty even on both sides, though.
Yeah.
Australian Whirlpool a little bit higher on the average chart, 241 versus 207, but otherwise seems fine. They took game one. I'm sure they're okay. So that Predator lock coming out right away, but the Tempest Keeper on the other side. And Predator is a hero that those are both two heroes that can really lock down a Predator. Of course, Predator can use the Stonehide in response to the Keeper of the Forest route, but likewise, if he has that Stonehide activated first, it's going to lock him down for sure. Other than that, interesting to see a Rhapsody lock. I got to consider that more of a filler lock, especially since, a little bit more aggression, I guess, than Pearl in the laning phase, thanks to her staccato, but otherwise I think her overall skill set and what she brings to a team is a bit inferior. I think that Bubble's that much stronger than the Pearl's ultimate.
Yeah.
Not too much else to know. Torture being locked in there. He has been a premier support and intelligence carry as of late.
Yeah, that's the Rhapsody, though, is definitely the one I'm eyeing as well, but we'll see if she eventually does get picked up. But you talked about Pearl, of course, for good reason, and Pearl is still left untouched so far, so we'll see if she even makes it through the banning stage here. But again, unfortunately, don't really know exactly how game number one went here. Of course, we are jumping into this series after casting the initial one. If you are just tuning in late, we're casting another series, but it happened to end very quickly with the game two kind of abruptly finishing. So figured to keep the content going here, the live content at least, get some more casting going on, especially from this round of 128. So continuing on with the banning stage, though, Wretched Hag into a Luna so far coming. I would love to see Pearl. Again, just these new heroes in general, just to even though it's from teams, that may not be the most experienced in that top tier, it's still just seeing them in general, kind of seeing how they flow, how they play in that competitive atmosphere would be fun. And Pearl definitely is the one that a lot of people are talking about, of those 6 heroes that were released. Now, so far, when we think of it, we've seen Solstice. Obviously, just the last series. Who else have we seen from that pool? We saw somebody else. Lodestone. We've seen a couple times.
I've seen Lodestone. Yep, I actually got to cast Lodestone yesterday, who got a bit shut down by a Mage Bane.
Yeah.
We saw Bushwhack. We've seen the Bushwhack.
That's right. That's the third one, I think. The others are Grinix, Pearl, obviously, and then Oogie. Oogie's the other third one.
Oogie's the one that, once again, going into the patch, every competitive player I talk to is like, Oogie's OP.
Yeah.
Oogie's going to break the game.
And then
Oogie's going to do this and that, and
no
so
bans,
far, nothing.
No picks, nothing. Yeah, it's just kind of there. So I think, yeah, the Grimoire power also being introduced. Like, a lot of people were really worried that he was going to be broken. So, but hey,
And
he's yet to be
nothing's
played. From what
out
I can
saying
tell.
he isn't broken yet. People are saying if you shut him down early, he doesn't offer too much to a team. There's also the potential counterpick of Magebane, who, just due to the nature of Oogie, where he drains his entire mana pool just by using his skill set, does leave himself very vulnerable. So we'll have to see how that sort of breaks down.
There's a rally of Ophelia bans coming out. Both teams dipping into a little bit of extra time here as far as the banning stage is picking up. Demented Shaman, the final ban. I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say anything about it. But
You know, if anything, if you want to avoid the Magebane counter pick, you could pick it up if you're Hellborn. You're on second pick side. You can pick it up as your last pick out of the normal hero pick pool, so that they have no normal picks left to counter you. That's one advantage to potential the being second pick that oftentimes isn't stated, is that you do have the last hero pick. Some of the heroes which have harder counters, that third picking spot of the normal draft is exactly where you want to grab.
Of course, Jerizai is a prime example of that. We see him all the time picked up in that third spot. Because of that factor. There are heroes that are considered to be pretty solid counters, Electrician, a Parasite, and whatnot, but with that final
Pearl
pick
now
of
with the level 1, Asphyxiate being able to purge off
that's ridiculous.
More than anything, I think Jerizai allows Pearl to be laned a lot easier, too, due to the fact that Jerizai is a more passive laner in himself.
Zephyr, the final ban coming out. So we'll see. We'll see how this now picks up here. The first pick going to be coming out for Gina Reinhardt. Australian Whirlpool team over here on the Legion side. We'll see what they end up going with. But again, just a lot of fun things that we still have yet to see, and we won't see for a while, I'm sure, even still. It just... with the Haunter season, we were seeing from the beginning to the very end with very little changes in between as far as balancing goes and whatnot, obviously. We saw pretty drastic changes by the end of the season. I mean, with so many changes happening in this patch, you'd figure, it's going to be the same process. It's going to take time for more and more things to kind of be exposed and realized as far as power potential goes.
So far here, man, both these teams, though, it shows like they actually have a little bit more of a clue as to what's popular these days and what's actually proving to be very powerful. As Master of Arms first pick, I was eyeballing him right from the start.
Yeah.
They do choose to grab him up, a very versatile first pick. We don't really need to go over that too much, being able to be played as a strong support. And as Spindelwell said himself, he actually considers Master of Arms to be the primary one, the primary top point farmer for a game that you can have, just due to his skill set. So, yeah, Master of Arms being picked up here, followed up by a Pharaoh Andromeda. Interesting. What that tells me is, like, we're taking Keeper, and you're taking Tempest, and if you don't take Tempest, we're going to take Tempest too. And we have a lot of counters for you.
Yeah.
We have 3 counters for you.
Yeah. Very true. Wow. Yeah, that's that is setting up to be actually very, very, very powerful.
Sure. There is a bit of something like a lack of damage coming out, so maybe if they build around this Soul Reaper, build for a more tanky presence, build for a more sustainability.
And then that happens. Well, yeah. So back to back series now. I mean, you mentioned the last year you weren't a huge fan to see that hammer. It's not because he's a bad hero by any means. It's just
I think he's okay. The fit of it. I mean, there isn't a rally on board here. There's Magnus. There's other strength points that you could grab. I understand a hero. See,
that was strange.
Now that was very strange.
Yeah. Why would they give up both of those? The chances of STIC picking up Predator would have been low, I would think.
I said their damage was looking a little bit low, and going against the team composition, I'm not sure what Australian Whirlpool was thinking lining up their lineup here. You can't block Hamps anymore with this Pharaoh. They don't have the best. I mean, they do have some nice roam ejection, actually. Level 1 Rhapsody Sun, level 2 Rhapsody Sun is very, very powerful. Andromeda has some decent roam potential there, so they're going to have to be very active on punishing. I mentioned before, Keeper of the Force in this case isn't even going to be in the woods. He's going to be playing that more suicide or side lane. I mean, you can put him anywhere, honestly, and expect him to do decently. So right now, I don't know. They have to edge out, slow down this Tempest, maybe apply some aggression or ganks. Pharaoh's okay for it. He's not the easiest hero to gank for, though, because he has no disable, long-range disable, so to speak. He needs, until he gets his ultimate, walking up and mummy-walling someone is not as reliable as, say, a Hammer Storm Stun or a Magnus Stun, a Rally Compel, what have you.
Well, this is kind of a mix here for me because, I mean, I'm looking at this Legion team. It's setting up for a nice team surrounding this Predator in the sense of the minus armor. I mean, you got both Andromeda and Master of Arms. They're going to apply pretty good presence for this Predator, of course, with this new Terror on top of that now being the passive. But still, it does apply that minus armor effect. So that's something that he will have to look forward to. But at the same time, Feral it's almost a dangerous hero to have as a team in the game in general for a hero like Predator who, you know, sure, with that... with the stone hide is good against, you know, it can kind of be in that free shrunken head, but getting trapped in those mummy walls could definitely be an issue sometimes, even if he's on your team. So just making sure that you're keeping that in mind if you're fair on the positioning of yourself and where Predator is as well. But, you know, with that said, I mean, you even mentioned this earlier, the fact that Tempest and Keeper on this Hellborn team, they both have ways to deal with Predator even if he uses that hardened carapace initially. So say the root comes out, he hardened carapace, he can easily get caught by the Tempest, or, you know, so it's definitely still something to look out for this Predator, to say the least. But
yeah, both Keeper of the Forest and Tempest not getting any sort of health regen. Looks like Tempest is sitting out here to potentially deny this bottom lane, but yeah, I was expecting him to apply himself more in the woods. And if Keeper of the Forest is soloing top, I'm not sure if I agree with this Ring of the Teacher plus 2 mana potion builds. I definitely think you should have some sort of sustainability, health regen. The Hatchet really helps you last hit against the tower when they push up on you. Not really a big fan of that build.
Well, especially with, the Nature's Veil being nerfed in that previous patch in terms of the armor.
I mean, it is still a good ability. It was 2 armor that does do something,
yeah.
but it is still
a fantastic ability, but did receive the nerfs. And you see the matchup that is happening at the top lane. It looks like it's going to be a Pharaoh, and Andromeda is making her way up there, so kind of a 2v1 top. You got Rhapsody, Master of Arms here in the middle lane against their good old classic Engineer Hammerstorm lane. And that sets up the bottom matchup, Predator versus a solo Soul Reaper. I'm actually curious to see how that matchup goes down here between these two. I mean, I would think Soul Reaper would have a fairly good time, but Predator is in his short lane at the same time. So
yeah, Andromeda applying a lot of early movement. He saw the wards being placed to block out Tempest's camp, so hopefully he'll be able to get some gold up soon, get some rev wards up, as he needs to have this jungle able to farm. Right now, with that Andromeda roaming, it does give the lane advantage a bit in favor of the Australian Whirlpool.
Yeah, good point. You know, you see the 3 wards, 1 rev, and 2 ward of sights blocking those camps as you're talking about. So we got Dan the Man going around here playing the Tempest. He's trying to find anything, but just running in circles almost. Oh, bottom lane, Rhapsody coming in to harass Soul Reaper here quite a bit. Going to run right up to him and put out the staccato stun, put in some more auto attacks, and make a point that he is now here as Predator should open up his farm a bit, and obviously Andromeda transition to the middle lane now to pair up with this Master of Arms. So a solid transition coming out from the Legion side. Meanwhile, as I say that though, look at the top lane. The Soul Reaper ports top, and now Keeper of the Forest, he's going to port to the bottom lane. So both teams making some very early adjustments here, Emperor.
It doesn't really be left alone there against this dual lane of Rhapsody. Predator knows that if he gets slept on, the staccato on top of it, he pretty much has no chance. So I like the lane adaptation. The fact that Tempest has moved down here to the enemy woods is good in a sense in that they have that dual lane mid, and right now he hasn't been detected quite yet. Rhapsody is rotating. I was thinking maybe they can set up a kill mid, utilizing the Hammerstorm NG with Tempest roaming combo, but Rhapsody heading towards the mid lane, getting that, blocking the Engineer from getting the haste rune, and isn't going to go back in the woods. For a second there, I was afraid of Tempest getting scouted out, the pressure being applied, and, well, an easy kill, but yeah, no go yet.
Yeah, Tempest, again, having a very struggling start early on because of all those wards, but as you mentioned, the transition happened, and he's trying to pick it up now.
He is deep in enemy territory with 2 supports who are very capable of roaming and picking him off, so there is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
As soon as they get the read on him, he is going to be forced to retreat back into his own woods.
Yeah.
Using his mana potion here, he better make sure he doesn't get hit by the next Vagabond leader nuke. Okay, he positioned himself right. Good. Right now, what I would like to see is I would like to see him to roam towards that middle lane as soon as possible. He's going to keep neutraling instead, I suppose. I mean, honestly, there's a kill opportunity right here. They have a Hammerstorm Ingi lane. It is very easy to set up. If anything, roaming towards that mid, setting up that Bloodless kill would be very, very effective.
Well, and kind of the vice versa, though. I mean, as you're referring to with this roam potential here on the Legion side between Rhapsody and Andromeda especially, you know, you would think with all the wards that you do in the Hellborn jungle to block out Tempest, that there's a very likely chance that he would have changed to your jungle. They haven't even remotely attempted to scout that out yet, and that is to the fault of the Australian Whirlpool team. So you do got a Tempest right here. Dan the Man again playing the Tempest. He is having a fairly good time now as a result of that, and It is showing as far as his farm stepping up, nearing that 200 gold per minute mark now. But speaking of the GPM chart, you are looking at Predator is having the best time currently when it comes to farm. In fact, she jumps on the keeper right there. But
Dan the Man still focusing on passive play. Didn't get those level 2 Glacial Blasts. Wants to level up a little bit faster here. If he uses his elementals here, he's not going to have enough mana to use Glacial Blast, Breaky. And well, honestly, I just keep looking at mid lane. I see this Hammerstorm Andromeda, and I just see free food, free food. Why not take the Bloodlust kill?
I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, the potential is most certainly there, and we see that all the time from those top tier teams, including STIC Green, of course, and whatnot. At that top level, they got the jungler and setting up that gank in the middle lane, especially in the situation when you're running the aggressive jungler.
That was something I used to criticize STIC Green for a little bit while they were still winning, but I thought Chessie initially played a little bit too passive on Tempest. Since one of those games where I was pointing that out, I've actually noticed STIC Green, they've been a lot more active with him in the early game.
Yeah.
And if not, I mean, of course, he speed farms so effectively. Uptime hitting level 6 by 4.5 minutes in the first place, so it's not like he was out of commission for the longest time in the first place. But if you do see a free Bloodlust kill like that, literally, I mean, Hammerstorm, Engineer, Tempest coming out, 2 squishies between Master of Arm and Andromeda. It's like you have a tank hero with a shield to block things off. I don't see why you would not want it.
Well, speaking of ganking, middle lane Engineer sends from a nice Hammerstorm stun right there onto Andromeda Master of Arms. The kicks up from Engineer, wants to try to turn this, needs to be careful though. He will be Bloodlust and went for it all, gets killed. Now the Master of Arms will fall in the end, but I still think the Legion team is fairly okay with that. The fact that they got the Bloodlust kill first in favor of Master of Arms actually. So very
not worth
move.
it. Not worth it at all when you're looking at a 3v2 setup and you're still losing a 1-for-1.
Okay.
In the Hammerstorm, the point hero in the lane, they killed they killed the. What was this? Who did they kill? They killed the engineer. They killed the engineer, but the point hero in Hammerstorm is just fine. So,
true.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth it at all.
Rhapsody was sitting there for a good minute or so with the Invis activated, waiting for that opportunity. Eventually thought he had it, and obviously, again, though, Hammerstorm stunning both Andromeda and Master of Arms, a big part of that, too. It's obviously they got a little bit occupied trying to really chase down that engineer and ended up clumping up as a result. So, ends up being a 1-for-1, and yeah, as you put it, I mean, in your mind, that's really not worth it in the end. Double damage room going to spawn bottom right here. Rhapsody's doing a great job.
No. Tempest there. He actually chose to use elementals onto the Catman, and oh my god, that's his pickled brain.
Okay, now remember
they can't kill it.
the change. It cannot be seen. So
the reason that frustrates me is because if he was to wait to pick up the pickled brain off the courier, he still had a third of his mana pool. When he picked up that pickled brain to finish the Ring of Sorcery, if he got it on him, proportionally he would have received more mana than getting that pickled brain when he's at like 30 or 20, because it does increase by a percentage at that point.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't wait to pick up the pickled brain was frustrating to me. It doesn't really matter at this point since the courier dropped. He's picking up his Ring of Sorcery here, but I wanted to see him wait because that way he'd be able to farm and still have his stun available. Right now, he's at low enough mana, whereas if he's using those elementals, he does not have a Glacial Blast available. So, a bit of an oversight again there by Dan the Man.
Yeah, definitely. It just keeps going back to, he's pretty content on farming at this rate, and unfortunately, it isn't even the biggest farming gap here.
This is something that wouldn't have slowed down his farm at all and just made him a lot more efficient with the rest of his pattern. So,
Pizza's here, so.
Oh, well, that's important.
That is important. You can't blame him for that. You do got again an Australian team here that is early in the morning for them. Apparently 4 a.m. as Seahorse puts it there. So KFC apparently popular over there. Well, if that is a thing, or if that's a joke at me, I don't know. Keeper of the Forest, though, he was ganked, or the attempt actually went on here at the bottom lane on a Keeper of the Forest, but he was more than fine in the end. I mean, Predator is just not putting out nearly enough damage, especially against a Keeper. He was forced to use a root, of course, but did end up surviving in the end. So just over 7 minutes into this game now. Predator, speaking of him, despite not getting a kill down there, he is still continuing to have a very good time when it comes to creep farm. And we are starting to see now that passive terror starting to come into play as well. With that said, especially when it comes to his farming potential, definitely increasing quite a bit.
Sure.
With that change, so. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Tempest is going to eventually set up that gank in time that'll matter here for the Hellborn team. So
hasn't actually opted to buy anything yet. Now Root, we saw, was used for Keeper of the Forest to survive on the bottom lane. Predator is sitting on 2,300 gold. I would like to see him pick up his Steam Boots sometime soon. Considering the fact that Keeper of the Forest does not have his boots yet, something like a Dust of Revelation being picked up there by the Rhapsody, a Predator Leap, and that would be a free kill for them.
Yeah, the courier also getting killed. I mean, that's definitely worth stressing as well. The fact
Right.
that they do not currently have a courier to use, so they'll have to have somebody eventually go back and get one, eventually upgraded as well. So definitely something that will impact you on the Hellborn side and kind of hurt them quite a bit. So Soul Reaper, after making the adjustment at the top lane, it did definitely help Bjorn Orn here, playing the Soul Reaper up to 285 gold per minute. Currently has boots on top of the ring of teacher. He's going to the side shop right now. Probably going to upgrade his boots right here once we get out of this pause. So yeah, for those that are tuning in again, this is our opening day coverage here of the DreamHack Summer 2013 qualifiers from the North American European region. The top 2 teams from this event will qualify for that main event in Jönköping, Sweden, and also get that $4,000 travel stipend. So definitely quite a bit on the line here. Obviously, now we are in the round of 128 to kick things off in the first round, and as a result, casting some teams and a couple matchups here that, teams that we really don't know, but giving them kind of some limelight here. And it'll probably continue into the next round, too, being the round of 64, of course. With that said, too, we are going to continue coverage with the round of 64 later on today, and then eventually tomorrow with the round of 32 into the round of 16. So by tomorrow, especially the later part, we'll start getting into the teams that we know a little bit more, of course, but just having some fun here today and the earlier part tomorrow. Getting some good content out there.
For sure. I'm just excited to finally see this Predator, too. I want to see what he's capable of. Of course, he is facing a very devastating team fight composition there.
Yeah.
They do have a couple of counters with that. What is it even called? The Stone Hide, I should say, to counter the Keeper of the Forest Root. They have Andromeda and Pharaoh to counter the Tempest Ultimate. That being said, with the Engineer, with the massive presence they have, if they're using abilities right now, just like throwing themselves out there, I still think even with those counters available, it doesn't really give them that increased presence over the Hellborn team, especially once the Engineer gets up, gets a little bit more farmed up, and is able to put himself in those fights, lay down the energy field. It's going to stop their approach across the board. One of the changes that we saw, though, that actually benefits the Australian Whirlpool quite a bit is the fact that Stonehide, now when you're using it, you can actually walk through Engineer's ultimate. Before, you would actually still get the Purge applied to you.
Yeah, that was definitely a change that Engineer had to the energy field of his. So very true there. So a plus for Predator, of course. So see D-Day making a point right there. Yeah, so hopefully not too much longer here, sitting in this pause, and then we'll look to resume game number 2. Again, kind of just going through the brackets. You can find the brackets on HonTour.com under the Events tab, and you go to the brackets there for the DreamHack Summer Qualifiers. That's where you can find it running through the Hunter system, of course. So it's all automated with that said. And definitely making it very easy for all these players to just be able to log on, have the match lobby show up, and eventually jump into the match as a result. So, but yeah, as far as our coverage goes, again, not only this weekend, but then also Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, coverage will be happening as well for a couple of rounds. And then the next weekend, obviously, it eventually even wrap up next weekend. So really throughout this weekend, the week and the next weekend, there's plenty of awesome HON action going to be coming at you guys at home. And hopefully, as you've already seen so far here at HONcast, and something we most certainly continue to do and get a lot better at, and take your feedback and whatnot, is we're just doing our part to just keep that content coming, having a lot of fun here on these casts, and getting you guys involved as well as much as possible with polls and whatnot, and doing more interviews and things like that. So hopefully that already has been showing, but know that there's a lot more to come and down the line. So, but yeah,
so
much you can talk about.
We can take a look here and see how the lanes are progressing a little bit here. Hammerstorm Engineer in that mid lane versus the Master of Arms Andromeda. Master of Arms are farming him quite handedly so far. Hammerstorm having the deny advantage, and otherwise it's pretty neutral, right? I mean, Master of Arms he was killed when they dove the tower a little bit aggressively, but yeah, Hammerstorm not as much with the CS, and the Bloodlust kill was picked up by Master of Arms, so he's still sitting sitting ahead in that curve. Other than that, the top lane here, we have the Pharaoh Houseman hanging out against the Soul Reaper, 35-4 versus the 14-1. And once again, Soul Reaper was one of those heroes. When I saw that he actually got buffed in the patch to allow his inhuman nature to actually store up charges and be able to use them on himself or his allies.
Yeah.
There's pretty much no reason not to use that unless you're in the middle of a fight and you just want to make sure those mana charges are applied instantly. I think you should always have it so you're storing up those charges. That's just a lot of utility added to a hero, which had seen a lot more presence in the game. I didn't think he was as much of a situational pick. He was showing a lot of devastating results. Lions was picking him up a lot. A lot of teams were banning him. So the fact that he got a buff, I mean, it was very cool. I like what it does for his versatility when it comes to laning or what he can provide to a team, but it wasn't a hero that I felt necessarily needed one. Still cool to see.
Yeah. We do have while we're waiting here, I might as well take a look here at, I'm not even sure, what do we have? Brackets? We actually got the brackets. Oh, well, look at that. We got a brackets graphic for you guys. So, okay, well, not a graphic necessarily, but the site itself. So, again, if you go to the HonTour.com website here, the events tab, you can find the brackets there for the DreamHack Summer Qualifiers. And, again, it's a big tournament, obviously. It's round 128 team event here. It is single elimination, though, up until the round of 16. So it does cut down very quickly. By the end of tomorrow, we'll already be only 16 teams left after starting with 128. So just a reminder there as far as what is to come. So again, so some big brackets there going all the way through. You do notice, I know that there are some decent amount of Fs there, meaning forfeits. As we found out throughout the Hunter season, I mean that there are bugs with that every now and then. So I wouldn't take all those that they actually were forfeits because sometimes the lobby just gets screwed up or it just reads wrong. But it seems like some results, a bit of results are already actually getting figured out. A lot of 2-0s, of course, and whatnot. So. Moving along here, the next round is set to start at 3:30 Eastern, which is a little over an hour from now. So, at the very least, and I believe it got changed to, or they might still need to wait for the previous rounds to finish. So I don't know if that is still the case. I know that used to be way back in the past, but anyways. So we are back in this game, as you can see back to here. The Hellborn team, they were talking about how the player went AFK, and it might be even a point of he might not be coming back. So, again, welcome to the round of 128. That's what happens.
We're cursed.
Unfortunately.
Jump into another series,
get
get
another
trolled
one,
again.
and then do it again. So, well, at this point, it might just be a case of...
Yeah. Well, right now his favorite is Australian Whirlpool because they're... Okay, now we can hear his voice.
Well, I can hear him. So.
Okay.
There's an update for
us.
us.
What does this mean, guys? Does this mean you're
breaking
going
news?
now? Come on.
I can hear him. So he is alive. We know that much. We actually know that much. Must be some really good pizza, man. Must be some good pizza.
Is this okay? Are teams just allowed to...
Oh, well, there's the... Obviously, I think the rule is that you get 2 10-minute pauses, technically, before the other team can decide to just move on and advance on. So. Okay. I think that's the actual...
How long has it been now for this first pause?
Well, the server on pause is at 10, so...
Okay.
I would assume
I thought it was 50.
Okay. Here.
Okay.
We might actually just throw a video on in the meantime. I mean, if we have a video queued up.
Might as well. We can just... We'll let you get...
Oh,
wait, actually...
There's a server.
Oh, that's the server.
And he's back. Go figure.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Look at that. Good timing, I guess. Kind of makes you wonder a little bit. Anyways, we are back, so never mind about that video. We got some live stuff here. Okay, so where the hell are we? We're coming up to about 7.5 minutes right now, so it is a 1-to-1 game, of course. Again, just a quick recap. It was a Bloodlust kill in favor of the Legion team, but Master of Arms died shortly after, and you can call it an unfavorable exchange even. So.
Okay, so we saw Predator pick up his Steam Boots. Now I want to see that Dust Revelation picked up by the Rhapsody. Courier is going out, though, right now to the middle lane, and no Dust was on it. She does have the gold for it, so when it gets back to base, I'm going to be keeping my eye out on it. Tempest actually caught out here, though. We talked about the potential roam from Rhapsody and Andromeda, and
yeah, there you go. It finally happens. Maybe a little bit longer than we expected, but I mean, finally, Australian Whirlpool's like, yeah, he has to be in that jungle because he's not in the Hellborn side.
I mean, we killed his courier, which was flying to our jungle.
So
let's take a quick stroll, and quick pickoff, and down he went.
Yeah.
No boots yet. Did not forgo. The other thing is, with the runes, with the fact that runes spawn on both sides now, I'm surprised that since he was jungling in the aggressive jungle, he didn't opt for something more like maybe a boots in a bottle, because he'd have to move around more, be active, gank that middle lane. So right now, experience advantage in favor of the Hellborn team. He did a great job leveling up, but I thought he could have had a much, much bigger footprint on this game.
Yeah. He is going to go back to his own jungle, his Tempest at least, so
nope.
That's
Courier being bought out. I mean, someone needs to take that hit there
true,
for the team. He was back in base, had 300 gold, just...
It was possible. Keeper of the Force going top lane in the meantime.
Yeah. Root is up now. Cooldown, he had previously used it to get away from that Rhapsody Predator combo. Now trying to set something up here on this top lane. Pharaoh is rather malnourished and underfarmed at this point, so... Well, just going to go for the brute force push, actually, of the Soul Reaper Keeper of the Force combination. Not going to worry about picking him off. Why bother wasting time?
Yeah, Soul Reaper was putting in some good auto attacks into Pharaoh, but yeah, as you said, why bother wasting time? The tower was fairly low anyways. Keeper of the Force comes out here, and Nightmares playing that Keeper. It does get credit for the tower kill, so Pharaoh, all he can do for now is just kind of sit back and eventually get some team support if they do continue to push. It doesn't look like they are. Both Soul Reaper and Keeper are going to eventually fall back and go elsewhere. Where's the question, though? Do they go from here now? Do they go to the middle lane, perhaps, and look to push that one, or maybe even all the way to the bottom lane? Because
well, I mentioned before, I think they do have that team fight presence at this point with Soul Reaper having the sound early game. He is a very capable front man for their team. Predator has not really started snowballing yet. He has some good farm going into this, but no major items yet. A lot of people have been building up, say, Elder Parasite and Insanitarius. I'm not sure if that's going to be the prescribed build of Predator for this patch version, but it's been what I've seen a lot just for that quick and early damage, a lot of tank abilities, you know, a mix of defensive and offensive assets.
I mean, you said, though, the fact that Elder Parasite can no longer be used with Shrunken Head, he is, off the top of my head at least, the only hero in the game that can... Okay, Swiftblade, very true.
It's different, though. Swiftblade can't crit during it.
Yeah.
Can't use his abilities.
Predator is pretty much full force still.
Right. Well, yeah, he's
obviously
way beyond that. So.
Yeah, so... Yeah, very, very good combo now for him. It seems like it's an item that was changed in a sense and beautiful fit for him. So, bottom tower being pressured by Predator and Rhapsody, but a lot of TPs coming in the meantime at the bottom lane. However, back to the middle lane, we do have initiation. Soul Reaper going to be picked off. That was a very awkward.
He TP'd from 400 range behind the tower break.
Yeah.
When they do have Pharaoh and other heroes. I was just about to comment on how I said I liked they have Soul Reaper against the Pharaoh, because a lot of times. On the bottom lane here, though, Breaky, I'll let you take over.
Predator gonna tear through Hammerstorm right there, saving his teammate in the process, and also getting a hero kill. So several bad things happening for the Hellborn team. Might just get worse, actually. Andromeda coming in, has your war with the Comma Sound, can't use it just yet. It does have the haste, though. Gonna be able to try to chase down Engineer. Engineer doing the juking and jiving. Can he actually get away? Trying to get that line of sight, finally finding it, and Predator comes in. Seahorse playing, and Andromeda still gets credit for the kill. Meanwhile, back to the middle lane. Pharaoh getting locked out by the root. Nice job with the blast shot right there, but it's not gonna be enough in the end. Pharaoh does eventually fall as the final tower attack comes out. So a lot of action picking up right there. Big favor, though, for the Legion team when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, it all falls back to that Soul Reaper that was porting out in the middle lane, a few hundred range behind the tower. I was going to say, I like how they have a Soul Reaper against a Pharaoh. A lot of times you see teams try to push against Pharaoh, that constant rocket spam or the long-range attrition, maybe the Aurora coming out, the rocket spam, just things holding them off of the tower. They get weakened up so that when they finally go to team fight, they're already sitting at 3/4 health, what have you. Given the fact that they have a Soul Reaper, you can constantly spam that Judgment, keep them topped off, so the counter push of the Pharaoh being mitigated a bit. I just don't agree with their approach to that at all. I thought they had the tools they could have used to just brute force push as a team. Choosing to get picked off, they're not choosing to get picked off, but all but choosing to get picked off when he's porting that far behind. I'm not a fan of the risky play. You
do see the Elder Parasite on Predator now, and it's a first item that on top of the Steam boots that it pretty much goes here. With the farm that he has, farming 375 gold per minute just about, pushing up the top lane by himself currently. But as you see on the mini-map, really no restraints being put at him just yet. Bottom line in the meantime, though, Tempest, Engineer, and Soul Reaper all going to come together and put some pressure here on the bottom tower. Rhapsody is nearby. It's Justin currently, though. We'll see if they send some TPs in. Keeping the Force also there. Disco Inferno placed down, but not going to necessarily have the biggest impact here, as Rhapsody, with the haste rune he had, was going to run away somewhat. So the bottom tower goes down there in favor of the Hellborn team. Very little to no restraint once again. Middle tower in the meantime, a lot of TPs coming. Pharaoh's going to be caught right here. Puts the mummy walls up, but he is in trouble. Defensive Massive Call comes out, immediately taken off right there. Kegstun connects, and Suprema is in a lot of trouble. Energy Field comes out, and the boom goes the Dynamite from Soul Reaper to finish him off. So at least a solid response there coming out from the Hellborn side. The tower isn't in eye range. Back to the middle, and they'll swap on a Soul Reaper right there. Soul Reaper's in a little bit of trouble. It has plenty of armor, though. In comes a River Keeper the Force, and a turnaround right there onto Andromeda. Brute Strength activated by Hammerstorm here, and the chase is on in favor of the Hellborn team. Actually, Rhapsody porting in, but quickly realizing she needs to get the hell on out of there as she starts to run away. But Predator still out for a little bit of blood. He needs to be careful getting somewhat pet there. Predator does not have any mana. Going to be locked down. Rhapsody ultimate comes out, though, saving him for now. She will fall herself, and so will Predator. So the Hellborn team comes out massive in that team fight in the end.
Came out massive, and they even did a bit of overkill there at the start. Engineer had his trap. They actually could have taken out, I'm trying to think of who was caught. It was the Pharaoh initially, without even using the Soul Reaper's ultimate or the... Oh my god, they stayed too long here.
Yeah, they kept pushing, and it is not going to work out for them in the end. It looks like Hammerstorm being locked up in the hover. The Tempest ultimate only catching Pharaoh, though. Not the biggest of ones right there. He is going to kind of walk away. Engineer getting picked off. Tempest is still around. Tempest is now in trouble. He's going to be gone down. Keeper the Force was chasing, but now Keeper's in a little bit of trouble. There's the dust coming out, and Keeper the Force needs to run for the hills. Pharaoh blocks him with the mummy walls. Master Boss Rhapsody and Andromeda here as well, and Keeper the Force will go down. So just like that, the swing back for the Legion team.
Their ultimates were down, their mana pools were low, they had nothing to do. There was no reason for them to keep pushing. Pharaoh was revived, a lot of the team was coming back up. And then on top of that, even after the Pharaoh initiated, even after they got the pick off, they still had time to back up, but then they chose to go in with Elemental Void. He uses Elemental Void, but his teammates don't have any mana. They can't put out any damage. You have a Keeper of the Forest there with minions and his root down. There's absolutely no reason to use. They needed to back off. Reset being the key word. Reset, 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 reset. You don't need to push it. When you have a 4-5k advantage like that, pull back, wait for those cooldowns to come up. Go farm the woods, use your minions. You have 2 junglers. And then reapproach. I mean, there was absolutely no reason for that. They won a team fight before, while not necessarily wasting the Soul Reaper ultimate. I think it was fine to use the Demonic Execution. The Engineer ultimate also came out on top of it, which a little bit of miscommunication, so they didn't really get any use out of that, and they still crushed that team fight, so they were looking very, very strong.
Yeah. And they kind of just threw it away.
Oh yeah, totally threw it away.
Yeah.
That being said, they show that they have strong team fight, but as this game moves forward and forward, Predator is something to be careful of.
Oh yeah, he continues to be the top farmer in the game, and he's currently doing some double stack ancients, so it looks like he's going for that Soul's Bulwark next to the line, understandably there. Master Barnes meanwhile coming with Rhapsody right here, colliding on a Tempest. Tempest dropping quickly, but Hammerstorm and Keeper the Force coming in. Rhapsody does have her ultimate if necessary. Swap out, there's the Rhapsody ultimate, saving Master Barnes initially. Engineer though comes in with the energy field, gets the kill. Predator though leaping in, he's on a Hammerstorm currently putting some damage up. Carnivorous doing a lot for him right there, but now he's the one in a lot of trouble. Hammerstorm stock comes out, and down goes Predator. So again, it seems like both teams, man, making some very risky decision-making, and it is not paying off whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not liking it. I think you should pick fights where you know you can have the advantage, or at least it's even. They didn't have Pharaoh there. Pharaoh is nowhere in reach. They were fighting deep in enemy territory between that second-tier middle tower and second-tier top tower. So the fact of the matter is it would have been very easy for the Hellborn team to get all 5 of their heroes there. All 5 of the heroes they did get there, and as such, it was just the numbers advantage that tilted it in their favor. Rhapsody had a huge ultimate, set a bit better pacing that fight, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah. I was kind of curious about that from the beginning. I mean, Rhapsody was up there scouting it out with the Invis, and, you know, they really tried to force it, though. I mean, they did almost initially get the kill on a Tempest, but, I mean, I guess they did in the end, but still.
If anything, once again, though, you're looking to maybe capitalize while the Elemental Void is down. They figure, oh, hey, he sort of wasted in the previous fight, now we have an advantage. That's why you want to have everyone there for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so a little bit sloppy play, to say the least, from even both of these teams. But right now it is a 3,000 golden experience lead in favor of STIC, the Hellborn team here. I just saw he had a tablet to command an Engineer, by the way. That's pretty big. I saw something else. Yeah, Portal Key on Hammerstorm. That's what it was. So he also has his Portal Key picked up about 17.5 minutes into this game. So very solid start for him. That on top of the Steam Boots and the Blood Chalice. He decided to go first. Speaking of Engineer with that tablet, he's kind of running away. Going to get caught by Pharaoh here, but does have that tablet. This could be the difference maker. He gets tableted out right there, and he goes right to the Conqueror pit. He actually knows he's dead right here. Trying to stay alive. Not going to happen, though. D-Day gets the kill. Trying to get himself killed by Conqueror, I should say, but Obviously, it wasn't to be, so Master of Arms gets the final blow right there onto him, despite the tablet of command.
Right, so nice pick off. We do see the ultimate combo back up for the Hellborn side here, though, and every time thus far they've been able to make it happen. Legion team might be looking to capitalize while they are missing the Engineer, but Rhapsody's not there. Is skating ahead. They're a little bit split up right now. Maybe trying to get a quick pick off, and nothing going to actually come together.
Maybe a little bit of a tower push here. The tower is about half-life already. You do see Andromeda, very aggressive for his site.
They're all grouping up. Engineer is back up at this point. They don't have the stronger team fight. They're fighting deep in enemy territory. They have to back off.
Yeah, it looks like they are doing exactly that. They agree with you, and for good reason. Keeper of the Forest coming in here with the Nature's Veil applied, but I don't think too much is going to happen. Soul's Bulwark will be delivered to Predator in the meantime, so he is starting to put out a lot of damage now between the Elder Parasite and that Soul's Bulwark. Plenty of minus armor, of course, on top of the Terror, which he does have level 2 of now, as a result of being level 11. Big team fight, Prune down at the bottom lane. He made the points. Everything is up here for the Hellborn team, and they no doubt, as shown already in this game, have a very strong team fight potential. So this is going to be interesting. Australian Whirlpool, they need to choose wisely right here. They're going to go in on Engineer in the background. Does Predator. Meanwhile over here, Root comes out of the Master of Arms and Andromeda. Predator still going for the kill on Engineer. The energy field gets off the tablet. Not going to be in time. He eventually falls. Master of Arms though, still in a lot of trouble. He's being locked out, going to fall. And there's our Tabas ultimate. Still going to go off despite Pharaoh coming in with the Wrath of the Pharaoh. Predator running away. Not in time. The big Rhapsody ultimate saving Predator despite the demonic execution, but it doesn't matter in the end. He eventually goes down. Rhapsody and Pharaoh are now on the run. Rhapsody's going to be picked off, and Pharaoh is just going to waddle back to the tower. He should be fine, but there is the team fight potential of STIC right there.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late tablet even coming out from the Engineer in that fight, trying to get away from the Predator. Didn't really matter in the end. He had a huge ultimate placement, and his team momentum way too much coming out from there. Okay, they have the Keeper of the Forest. The Tempest is both up. The pushing power is immense. Everyone's down here on the Legion side. That's going to be free towers. Take over the enemy woods from there. Play it safe. Don't push it that much. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Pharaoh's ultimate is going to be up when you revive. Just play it safe, guys. Play it safe, because you've got the game from here if you do that.
Yep. Yeah, 20 minutes in. Oh, a lot of TPs actually coming in to do the tower kill, but at what cost is the question. Master of Arms comes in, puts in some auto attacks. Staccato stuff from Rhapsody. Disco Inferno plays out sword for level 14. He's pretty damn tanky, but is he tanky enough is the question. Heal Bomb comes out, and I guess the answer is yes. Yes, he is. He easily stays alive. Master of Arms stows on the demonic, or excuse me, the defensive Master's Call right there, as he was worried about getting turned on, so going to be fine. And everyone does get away for the Hellborn side, so that was a much better play than before in terms of where they got completely turned on and gave up everything. So as you're stating though, just, you know, kind of rinse and repeat here. Wait for your cooldowns again, get some farm up in the meantime, and then look to do a very similar thing. Predator, yes, sure, he's still farming fairly decent, but you keep those team fights up and you're on your way to a victory. But it is still only 21 minutes in, and Predator is 325 gold per minute. No doubt could put up plenty of damage on single targets with that Aurora and Goo coming out for Master of Arms especially. So
yeah, it's like right now though, the team fights, I'm not going to say they're brainless coming out for the Hellborn team, but as long as they hit R on Tempest, R on Keeper of the Forest, get the Engineer ulti out, Slurper's already well on his way with some nice snowball farm. They've got Tablet to sort of kite Predator around.
Yeah.
Hammerstorm growing quite well himself, so they don't really need to do that much to come out ahead.
Yeah.
There's not the most amount of damage coming out from the Legion side. Master Arms is doing okay, but he's not snowballing by any means. Predator's alright, but we talked about his damage is very kiteable, and he doesn't have enough lockdown on his team to really give him the room he needs, especially being faced off against that Tempest and Keeper combination, which can really hold him down.
Yeah.
Not to mention, even the Engineer turret, too, can go through that Stone Hide and slow him down as well.
True, yeah, being the physical, so. He does have level 3 of that Stone Hide, by the way. Ooh, I just heard initiation. No, it was in the middle, and Engineer gonna be tableted out, though. Quick swap comes out, however, and Engineer will eventually fall. So again, the tablet great against a hero like Pharaoh, but a couple of times now it just hasn't been enough to stay alive in the end for Jado there, playing the Engineer. So, but he is playing the support Engineer, and farming still over 200 gold per minute even after that death. Still pretty good, but definitely a nice pick off. No fire play being worked on by Master of Arms right here. So he's going to have an Energizer on top of that no fire play. Some solid damage output on top of that Predator, of course. And always having that nullifier effect can be very useful in a lot of cases, and no doubt the same here for his team. Soul's Bulwark picked up by Keeper. You got Soul Reaper, the Shaman's Headdress, Sacrificial Stone, and Gnome's Wisdom picked up for him. And their ultimates are good to go now, including the Shrunken Head on Tempest. Obviously a pretty big deal, though. Pretty big deal there. However, there is still a couple of ways at least.
Yeah, we talked about there being 2 counters, but they have to
Yeah.
have enough damage to bring him out in the first place, and given they have the Keeper of the Force to counter him, I mean, he can position himself quite well. It's still, yes, they have the counters, but then they're holding their ultimates for that Tempest, so in a way it works, you know, it works against them as well.
Yeah, most certainly, yeah. You see Master of Arms pushing out the bottom lane in the meantime, trying to take advantage of the Hellborn team currently being MIA. Pretty risky, but at the same time, according to the mini-map, he should be fine. Sorper coming in with a flank, but by himself at least. Don't expect him to do too much unless this port makes something happen, whoever that is. No, he's going to be more than fine. A quick Energizer. And Master of Arms will get the hell on out of there. So the golden experience lead is diminishing a little bit here in favor of the Legion team. It's down to about 63 and 6,400 experience, so it's still a pretty sizable lead for the Hellborn team, but definitely don't count out this Legion side by any means, especially with Predator again, 2,100 gold more saved up. Where does he go from here? Is it going to be that Insanitarius still perhaps? Or another item. So
The one thing I can really see working heavily in Legion's favor, okay, he actually is choosing to get a Warp Cleft on top of the Elder Parasite here, going straight for that Demonic Breastplate. I feel like I'd like to see him just build up a little bit more damage instead, given that he has such high attack speed already. There is a little bit of a diminishing return, so to speak, there. And, well, it is a very powerful team item. It's just he's still not going to be hitting the hardest, even with all of that Minus Armor.
yeah. Obviously, there is the Nature's Veil counter for Keeper, Gnome's Wisdom buff, sure, but definitely agree with you. It's a very interesting pickup, but at the same time, I mean, Demonic Breastplate is very powerful. So he won't have it though before this next fight, as it looks like the Hellborn team is making their push. All 5 are here in the middle lane, and they're ready to go again. Understandably, everything is up as far as ultimates go.
What they can hope for is a little bit of overextension or misplay here from the Hellborn team, and if they come out ahead in the fight, have a few heroes up, instantly choose to push afterwards while the Keeper Ultimate and the Tempest Elemental Void are still down, then they might have a chance.
Predator doesn't have a buyback, of course. Big thing to note as well. Just buying that Warp Cleft on top of the armor, actually, which eventually will work towards the Demonic Breastplate, of course. There's some Staccato stuns on the Soul Reaper. Hammerstorm activates a Brute Strength, actually, but he's not going in just yet, so there's a good duration on that. Still about 15 more seconds, but he thought they found an opportunity. Didn't go just yet, however. That could be a pretty big deal. I mean, it's a good amount of the damage here on the Hellborn side. And in the end, it's not going to be used effectively, it looks like. So we'll eventually fall back. And hell, there is a good amount of creep clear potential, that's for sure, on the Legion team between the Disco Inferno and, of course, there's always the Goo from Master of Arms. You got the Tormented Soul from Pharaoh. So, yeah, a lot of creep clear potential. And I think we're seeing that quite a bit right here, as this push is still being attempted by the Hellborn team. So you're talking about maybe get that overextension to happen, and that's going to be the key here for Australian Whirlpool. Let's see if they can find that opportunity. Blast shot away Sorper kind of by himself right there, but no initiation onto him. So
Yeah, I most wonder if that was meant to be a stun instead of the blast shot pushing him away there. That he was playing a little bit further up. I will say Rhapsody's ultimate, when he's going up against his Tempest, maybe a huge Rhapsody ultimate, after the Tempest Elemental Void comes out, he might be positioned just outside of it. Could stop them from a lot of the AoE punishment.
Oh, very true. The root coming out right there. Predator not using his W just yet. Oh, the big swap from Andromeda. There's the Rhapsody ultimate. That's exactly what you're talking about, Cyrus. Will it be enough in the end, though? Predator in the midst of it all. He eventually falls, though. Just way too much damage output. And Pharaoh's also going to start dropping right here. The Hellborn team, they get it together. Despite the protective melody and a pretty damn good swap from Andromeda, it still wasn't enough there for the Legion team. And now they're going to lose this middle tower, and most likely the racks on top of that.
Yeah, the turret pushing him into the Engineer ultimate at that point, the energy field, the electric fence. It just wasn't enough, man. They got 3 people stunned in that initial hammer sword, so that was a problem. Rhapsody was way too close to his team. Got stunned out, and that's the snowball, man. At this point, they have way too much push. They're way too thick for them to take out. Additional armor from Keeper of the Force against this Predator, also punishing him.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely lined up like it could have been a huge turnaround for Australian Whirlpool with the beautiful protective melody just outside of the Tempest ultimate, but
yeah, but at that point you just realize they're already way too thick. The Soul Reaper's way too farmed. Demonic Execution level 3 not even needing to be used.
And now you got the golden experience lead pretty extensive here. 14,000 gold lead, 12,000 plus experience lead. And of course those bigger and better items going to start being picked up now from the Hellborn side. So Nullfire Blade is finished by Master of Arms, so again, kind of something there for the Legion team, and you got to think at this point now the demonic breastplate could be finished by Predator by the time the next team fight comes up, so that could be a pretty big deal. Keeper of the Forest hanging around a little bit too long, perhaps. In comes the charge shot. They do have dust, and Keeper of the Forest will eventually fall. He was attempting to clean up at least a couple of these Ancients here, but it did cost him his life in the end. Well played there by the Legion team, and they'll finish cleaning up the Ancients, actually, so that was a pretty good pick off for them.
I talked about not needing to take unnecessary risks. At this point, it wasn't really a risk that is going to throw his team the game, though they are far enough where, yeah, sure, it's nice for them to get that pick off, but it doesn't really matter. I understand that he was probably a little bit overconfident, and that's why that happened. So, yeah, nice ward there out by Seahorse, allowing him to get that pick off, but just it's delaying the inevitable at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah, you would think. I mean, at the same time, though, Predator is still pretty dangerous. I mean,
Hammerstorm, I feel like he's had that mighty blade. He's got to only be 100
he
gold
bought a
off.
Warhammer. I know
Okay, he's got to be 100 gold off. I was going to say, Shrunken Head's coming in pretty late at this point.
He is pretty close here, but just over 100 gold. So it will have that Shrunken Head himself by the time the next team fight comes up, of course. So you look at Soul Reaper now, a barrier idle finish on him on top of the plate mill just picked up. So very likely that Frost Fuel plate going to be coming out here for Soul Reaper, helping bulking up his presence and, you know, getting more and more armor against hero like Predator, even with a demonic. Very smart, especially with that carnivorous ability for Predator. You know, stacking up the life can be a little bit risky in that sense. So going the armor buffs definitely makes sense here from Soul Reaper. He also is level 16 on top of that. Portal Key Tablet on Engineer, your main support engineer, Portal Key Tablet of Command, pretty solid. You got this Mind Trap here as well.
Yeah, so
just up the Hellborn.
You're looking at some of those Tempest counters like Feral, like Andromeda, who actually have to put themselves into the middle of the fight in order to use those counters. Talk about an engineer blinking in there, laying down the energy field.
Yeah.
On top of those ultimates, it'll punish them for trying to counter it in the first place. So, yeah.
You see Conqueror being done right here by the Hellborn team, and again, all their ultimates are ready to go, including Tempest. So they are pretty much full strength, and they're going to jump in at least right away right there on Rhapsody. Rhapsody completely locked down. She'll eventually fall, and a quick pick coming out for the Hellborn side right there. And now back to Conqueror they go.
If I was the Rhapsody right now, I'd be like, really? Did you really need to use that Keeper of the Forest route and everything just to burst me off really quick and the God's like, come on, guys.
Well, they did get the kill, and yeah, that's a good point, though. I mean, Keeper route is down here. Conqueror is about to fall, though, and it doesn't look like our Legion team is interested in anymore stopping it by any means. So it is definitely going to happen. The Token of Life will, I'm thinking Hammerstorm, I guess.
Go on Soul Reaper. Soul Reaper's the guy that when they push, he's up front.
Yep.
And he's the guy that if they go on him, they're going to get punished for going on him. So yeah, I like seeing it on that Soul Reaper. I like seeing it on a farmed up Torture. It's whatever's going to help you take towers the easiest.
Does go to Soul Reaper, sure enough, and now they're going to head right towards that bottom lane. You do see a Votica coming out, and maybe that was a point of, all right, well, this is going to be too much. Let's just move on to that third game. Uh-oh, Predator. Okay, there we go. Casino will actually go through before any more kills actually happen. So that's how game number 2 will finish of that series, and that means, obviously, that one is going to be going to a game number 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got a game 3 coming up here from the round of 128 of Australian Whirlpool versus STIC. I forget the actual full name of that. It looks Strong Trollomatic Inc. is what it actually stands for. So we'll definitely look to check that one out. Again, I do want to get confirmation, though, as far as when the next round is going to be starting in between here, because, you know, it might be a case that we might actually jump into a round of 64 match if this one, it might be either taking too long or whatnot. So we're going to get some things figured out. We'll probably end up coming back with game number 3 at the very least, so we'll see where we go from there, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be happening, so sit tight. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.